Liftoff will start in T-minus 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have ignition.
It's time! 17 seconds from Game 7 or from championship number 6. Jordan, open. Chicago with the lead. I've got a piece of it. It comes off. The Chicago Bulls have won their 6th NBA championship.
Tying run at second, 2 out. Palmero over the head of Jenks. Uribe charges close. Out! And the White Sox have won the World Series.
To the far side around the 8-yard line to Hester. Under it and to the middle with the 15 to the 20. Break 3 to the 25 to the 30 to the outside. 40 midfield. 40 30 in the coast. 20 15 Hester 5. Touchdown!
Toward Bryant. He will glove it toward Rizzo. It's in time. And the Chicago Cubs win the World Series.
What up, what up, what up? Welcome to Shawn and Maya in the morning on this TGI Mickey Ficky Friday. It's the weekend, baby. And I'm your boy, the SuperBack, Shawn Sierra. Thanks for tuning in. If you're watching us on Facebook Live, well, then I guess you found us on Facebook. And if you're not following us on Facebook, come on, baby, get with the program. Go to Facebook, type in Sports Zone Chicago, click the like button. Now you're following Sports Zone Chicago. Simple. But wait, there's more. Go to the show's page, go to Shawn and Maya in the morning, like that page as well. So not only will you be following Sports Zone Chicago, but you'll be following Shawn and Maya in the morning as well. If you're watching us on our YouTube channel, excellent. And if you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel, for real, come on, man. Go to YouTube, type in Sports Zone Chicago, click the subscribe button, but also click the notification button. That's the little bell next to it. And that'll let you know anytime a show from Sports Zone Chicago is going live. Get it? Got it? Good. Now, if you're watching us on our mobile app, please don't tell me you didn't know we had a mobile app. Come on, baby. You got to get up with the program. We have a mobile app. So if you have a smartphone, I don't know if a lot of people have those. But if you do, and just go wherever you get your apps from. It doesn't matter where you get them from, whether it's iTunes or Google Play or Amazon or Walmart or Kmart or 7-Eleven, Zayre, Zemsky, Macy, Montgomery World, Woolworth, Weebles, Gold Blast. It doesn't matter. You go there, you type in Sports Zone Chicago, you download it, you take us with you on the go. So not only do you get Shawn and Maya in the morning, not only do you get our other live shows throughout the week, and not only are they archived there like they are on Facebook and YouTube, but I'll tell you what, we give you a slew, and I mean a slew of articles. Thanks to my man Clarence, Council the Third. Big up to Clarence for keeping you abreast of all articles Chicago sports related. Now, if you're watching this on a Roku channel, I like that kind of party, baby. If you don't know, you better ask somebody. Sports Zone Chicago, we have our own Roku channel. So if you have a Roku television in the house, do us a favor. Download Sports Zone Chicago's channel to your television. Put it there next to the big boys. Netflix, Hulu, Apple, HBO Max, Prime, Disney Plus, Stars Plus, Paramount Plus. Do it. You can watch this on the big screen. Hell, run a big screen, right, Mickey? Vicky, now. Now, you can also tweet the show. Tweet us at Sports Zone Shy. That's CHI at Sports Zone Shy. Now, if you want to follow me, me personally, want to know what I did? Let me tell you what I did. I've been nice and easy for you folks. Nice and easy. One handle for Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, and TikTok. All one handle at the Shawn Sierra. Listen, we got a great show, but I need you to get interactive. So whatever platform you're watching us on, whether it's Facebook, YouTube, or our mobile app, leave a question or comment on that platform. It'll come up here in the thread. We'll put it up on the screen. We'll incorporate it into the show. And that, my peoples, is what makes this the best morning Chicago sports talk show around. And that's you. So bring them all, baby. Questions, comments, smart-ass remarks, because ain't nobody scared over here. And like The Rock said, baby, don't sing it. Just bring it. Let's see, man. We got... Woo, people are jumping. The chat is jumping already. Oh, man, Black Diamond getting in early. It's the top of the morning. Doubt it. But if the Lions lose tomorrow night, you get Johnson's ass on that private jet Monday. What do you mean Monday? Sunday. Shoot, you have that jet. You have that jet fueled up in Detroit. Hey, you lost? Boom. Bring his ass right from the stadium. That's if you want Ben Johnson. Or that's if the Bears want Ben Johnson. Cornelius Squalls, what up, what up, what up? Sports owners, I got it. I sent you a message back. You didn't reply. I sent it back immediately. What the heck? Our girl Patty Lauer's in the house. Patty, what's up, man? How are you? Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. Patty, and I know Jeremiah's watching. So, Jeremiah, saw you rocking the threads, baby, the other day. Looking sharp, baby, looking sharp. Good morning, Jeremiah. Also, good morning, Dito. I know you're at school getting ready for your 3-day weekend. Levette Lee's in the house. Good morning, Mama. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. Who else is in? Rashawn Wall's checking in. Mickey Ficky Friday, everyone. You're damn right, man. It's been one of them weeks, Papa. It's been one of them weeks. Lord have mercy. King Book of World checking in. Salute, chat, and Shawn. What's up, Papa? I appreciate it. Man, I just... And Shawn, you dig, you be outside the locker room laughing, but very serious. You're damn right. You're damn right. Like, or you know you have a little sign. You know what you do? Here's what you do. Hey, Black Diamond, here's what you do. Yeah, you're out, if they lose. If they lose, this is if you want them. This is if you guys want them. Hey, if you lose, you have a little limousine driver with a little sign that says Ben Johnson. Outside the Detroit Lions locker room. Mr. Johnson. Johnson! Got in a limo, and hey, pull the limo underneath the bowels of the stadium, right outside the locker room, and my man has a little sign, Ben Johnson. That's if you really want him. I'm just saying. I'm not saying. I'm just saying. Zach Diamond said, I'll dress up in that chauffeur suit. Hey, I hear you, man. That'll let them know for real, you're interested. Chicago Clubhouse, what's up? I don't know, is it T-Nick? It's not Foul Mouse Chris, is it? I believe it's probably T-Nick. Terrence, what's up, baby? Whoever it is. Okay. Cornelius. I'm a baby boomer. My social media skills leave a lot to be desired. Okay. Listen, we got a great show. We start off at the bottom of the hour, 9:30. We have my man, Evan Altman. We have a lot to talk about today. Cubs convention. All right, you Cub fans, Cub fans, you're fired up. Actually, I'm fired up. I'm excited for Sammy. I'm excited to see Sammy back in the fold. I really am. I really am. So we got Evan Altman from CubsInsider.com. We're going to talk to him. We're going to talk about the Kyle Tucker signing, how happy he is about that, so they avoid arbitration. We got a lot to talk about with Evan. And that's coming up at the bottom of the hour. At the top of the hour, at 10 o'clock, my man Lorin Cox. He is the host of the Locked On Bears podcast. We're going to talk coaching searches, who's coming in today, who's coming in tomorrow. Is this all just a sham to wait out Ben Johnson? Does Pete Carroll, what about Brian Flores? Do they really have a shot? I don't know. We'll see. Mike McCarthy, we'll talk and get Lorin's thoughts on this whole coaching situation. Then I'm going to ask him about this. Who does he want, or what positions does he want to address in the draft? We're at number 10. Do you want to trade someone, or do you want to trade back? Are you happy? You know, who are your top offensive linemen? Where's the cutoff between the elite offensive linemen and everybody else? If you don't get the elite offensive lineman, do you trade back, or do you stay with it first? Your first pick, number 10 overall, you stick with a defensive lineman. You get an edge rusher, a 3-tech. What do you do? We're going to talk to Lorin about all this at the top of the hour at 10 o'clock. Okay? We got to move, baby. We got to move. We ain't got much time. So here we go. We know how we do, folks. Let's get it cracking. You know how we do the first segment of every show was called Top of the Morning.
It won't come just when you want it.
Top of the morning to you. Top of the morning to you. Top of the morning to you.
First top of the morning topic. Which way do we go? Which way do we go? Which way do we go? Here we go. On Wednesday. Ooh, that was an ugly loss. On Wednesday, the Bulls got their asses handed to them. Lost to the Atlanta Hawks at home, 110-94. Atlanta was without 7 or 8 players in the lineup. I think it's at 82 points. 82 points were out of that lineup, and the Bulls still lost 110-94. Zach LaVine led the way with 15.6 boards, 7 assists. Kobe White led the way with 16 points. Zach had 15, 6, and 7. Nikola Vucevic, 14 and 16. P. Will, Patrick Williams, they're starting to get fed up with this kid, with this young man. All right? I mean, how much longer can you wait? It's frustrating. He's not developing. You know, his mental state, I don't know what it is. But here today, on Wednesday, he has a just horrible game. 10 points, 2 rebounds. Dude, you're 6'9". How the fuck do you only get 2 rebounds? I'm not saying, I'm just saying. Anyways. Speaking of the Bulls host the Charlotte Hornets tonight at the United Center. Tip-off is at 7 o'clock Central. It's the last of their 5-game homestand. If you can catch that game, tip-off is at 7 p.m. You can catch that game on Chicago Sportsnet or listen to it on their flagship station, 6 a.m. You know, you just can't. I don't know what to do with P. Will. You just signed him to a $90 million deal. Why? 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 He did nothing to deserve it. Still, yeah, I'm happy for him, but he did not deserve it. Anyway. Next top of the morning topic is the Blackhawks host the Vegas Golden Knights tomorrow at the United Center. Puck drop at the United Center is at 7 o'clock p.m. Central Time. You can on Chicago Sports Network or listen to it on their flagship station, 7:20 a.m. Oh, snap. Plank's checking in. The Plankster. He says, happy Friday. Good morning, Shawn. Sports owners. Bear down, Plankster. So we're talking about. Black Diamond says, bye, P. Will. Hey, it comes a point in time, man. You ain't got time. You ain't got time for this nonsense anymore. Next time, the morning topic. All right, Scrub fans, relax. Take it easy. Take it easy. Cubs convention kicks off today, Friday through Sunday at the Sheraton Grand Chicago. And let me tell you something. It's the return of Slammin' Sammy. I'm telling you, I'm fired up over Sammy Sosa being back. All right. I wonder if Vegas is having odds on what shade Sammy's going to be. You got a light-skinned friend, look like Sammy Sosa. Got a dark-skinned friend, look like Sammy Sosa. I'm not hating, Black Diamond. I'm not hating. I'm just saying I'm excited for you guys because I'm excited to see Sammy. All right, let's be honest. Whether you're a Sox fan, a Cub fan, if you're a baseball fan, let me get this off the screen. If you're a baseball fan, all right, and you're of age, come on, man. Sammy and Mark McGwire's home run derby? Come on, dude. That was it. We all know how it saved baseball. Baseball knew what was going on. They knew the deal, but they also knew the amount of money that they were earning because of those two and their home run exploits. You know what I mean? He'll start Sammy Dracula Sosa. He'll start. Oh my goodness. So am I happy? You know what? It took a while. Sammy apologized. He didn't say what he apologized. He said he apologized for his mistakes. He never came out and said he took steroids like the Ricketts wanted. But then again, I mean, who are you? I mean, why does he need to apologize to the fans, Ricketts, when because of him, or are you just mad that he drove the price up of the Cubs? Because we all understand him and Mark McGwire saved baseball. And Sammy's infectious personality, his smile, his demeanor. Come on, man. It was exactly what baseball needed at one of the darkest points in the history of baseball. People were just pissed because of the strike, of the work stoppage. People weren't really into baseball until Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa says, hold my beer. Hold our beers. We got some shit to do. So he made that little BS apology. They forgave him, and that's perfect. I love it. I love it. I love it. James Ford checking in. Good morning, Papa. How are you? Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. You know, it's going to be good. It's going to be good. Not as good as Sox Fest at the Ramova Theater on Halstead next week. I was at my tailor yesterday. He's a big Cub fan, but his shop's in Bridgeport on 31st, right by the viaduct. And he was just like, that's embarrassing. When I told him, he's like, no way, they're not even at a hotel, bro. They're at the Ramova Theater, the newly remodeled Ramova Theater. I'm like, what, Chance the Rapper gave him a good price? Because he's an investor at the Ramova Theater. Oh, goodness. Tell you, Sammy's going to be the hit, and he should be. He should be, damn it. He should be. And I'm happy that he's back. You know what? He's probably one of the most beloved Cubs of all time. All right? I know you got Mr. Cub and Ernie Banks. All right? Billy Williams. I know those guys are etched in Chicago Cubs lore. But man, there was nothing like Sammy. Nothing like Sammy. And I know the way he left was not ideal. All right, playing his music loud, just leaving in the middle of the, I get it. But this also comes with what you allowed him to do. Okay, like you didn't put any constraints on him, restraints at all. Like, hey, you allowed Sammy to be bigger than the team. You did. Okay, you did. And he took advantage of it. So the way he left, he was upset. But damn. The excitement that he gave, the love that he gave the fans. Running out to right field. Like, come on, man. Like this, that fired you up. I'm not even a Cubs fan. But he would remember when he ran out with the American flag out to right field. Come on, man. King Booker, well, I hear you. It's hard being a damn Sox fan. It is. It is. And don't get me wrong, I ain't switching teams. I'm just saying it's hard. Speaking of Cub Convention. Cubs unveil their brand new uniforms. Their alternate uniforms they're going to wear this season. Let me get this banner off the bottom so you can see. I'll tell you what, those are kind of tight. I do like the baby blue. I will say that. The Chicago colors. On the back, you see this Tucker. On the sleeve, it has a Chicago. If you see on the right side of the picture, and see the checkered board is like the police. Actually, two things. One, the Illuminati, but also the police. Checkerboard. That's another story. That's another podcast. But the hats, Nike outdid themselves again. All right, because everyone was up in arms. A lot of people didn't like the Wrigleyville alternative jersey that you guys came up with a couple years ago. Yeah, I thought those were whack. I thought those were whack. These shits are tight. These shits are tight. I can't even front. I can't even front. No, vet, not a Cub fan by any stretch. No, I don't. Hey, this is why they say don't drink in the morning, Levette. No drinking in the morning. I hear you, right? But hey, game recognize a game. It took them long enough. Because our Southside jerseys were hitting when they came out. Our Southside jerseys were hitting when they came out. And they're still fire. It's about time you finally got a really cool alternate jersey, Cubs. Black Diamond. Hey, I agree with you. Those are fire. Oh, you got your Southside jersey? I think that's the only one I don't have. The Southside jersey. No, I don't even have the script one. I got the pinstripe. I got the 83 winning ugly one. I got the red pinstripe one. Obviously the home black pinstripe one. I got the 1959 one. Got about five different. I got the black away jerseys. I got like 5 home White Sox jerseys. But I don't have the Southside jersey. I need to get that one. But yeah. So I'm happy for you guys. You're finally in the 21st century when it comes to alternate uniform. But I mean, you guys are late to the party all the time. All right, it took you to 2016 to win your World Series. Like, come on, man. What I tell you guys, you Cub fans are. You're like the last person. Like your birthday is December 29th. All right, so January and February, you come bragging to us. Oh, dude, I was at this bar. I'm at that bar. I'm at this bar. Like, bro, we turned 21 already. We've been there. We've done that. But your thirsty ass. Now you're just all excited about it. That's what it is. Anyway. NFL playoffs. Next top of the morning topic this weekend are going to be lit. On Saturday, first game of the day, 3:30 Central, AFC divisional round. The Houston Texans. Damn it. The Houston Texans take on the number 1 seed Kansas City Chiefs. Let me tell you, Houston has a chance. Not a good one. Houston has a chance. But it's not a good one. Because let me tell you, they are on a mission. They're on a mission from the Chiefs. They're going after that three-peat. Okay, and you know what? They are themselves in history. In the history books. They are trying to etch themselves. And I ain't mad at them. Texans are 4. I ain't mad at them. You have this opportunity. You know, that's the thing. It's like the only way you can go for a three-peat is if you have a two-peat. The only way, or a repeat. The only way you get a repeat is if you win one in the first place. But I'll tell you what, Lamar got something for them boys too. It's not going to be easy. If they get a three-peat, I will tell you, they could be the best team ever. The defense is extremely underrated. Everyone's so worried about Patrick Mahomes, Kelsey, and whoever the hell he has playing receiver. No, we still don't know who his receivers are. Everybody's worried about them, and no one's worried about the defense. That defense is legit. Coach Spagnuolo got them boys balling. Says the guy whose team plays in Boys Town. Oh, man. Be Smooth checking in. Said good morning and happy Friday, Shawn. Chat. Black Diamond says, I don't know, bro. KC looks vulnerable, but they should win. They should. And I'll tell you what. They're bored. They were bored. All right, it's up, 4 weeks ago, and once they realized they clinched it, the number one spot, it was like, come on, man. And at that point, like, you got to understand, and I'm speaking from experience, from my days with the Thunder. All right, we won 5 league titles in a row. Won the title 4 years in a row. Best record. We were a little different. I was a little different. Like, I played. Like, I never said, okay, just got to get to the playoffs. But we understood. Like, the regular season was, here's the cool part about my team. Even though we played busters and we knew that we were going to destroy them, the team didn't deserve to be on the same field as us, we went out there and handled that business. I can tell you, my first year, my MVP year, in 2006, we won the first national championship. We sat out an equivalent of 2.5 games, me and my fullback. 2.5 games. Because we were ahead so much, they took us out. We didn't go back in. Why? Because we realized that there was work to do, got that work done, and now we could rest. And they took us out. I think that's what the Chiefs have done. They got that work done. All right, and it was a lot more difficult. There were a lot of one-score games with the Chiefs, but you know what? They're comfortable in those types of situations. They are, because they got 1-5 in the back there. And they ain't scared. They ain't scared. Why would you be worried about anything when you got 15 in the back? No reason whatsoever. And I get it. I wouldn't be worried either. Like, oh, we got him. We're straight. So I think Kansas City. I think the AFC title game is going to be a son of a gun, and then the Super Bowl is going to be a son of a gun. Excuse me. Uh-oh. I hate when I don't put on silent. Anyway, well, listen, let's take a quick break. On the other side of the break, we're going to, all right, Cub fans, don't ever say I don't ever talk about the Cubs. I told you, I don't know who's, I'm so happy for Sammy. I'm fired up for Sammy. I just want to see it come out like, come out on stage and do that. Oh, but so let's take a quick break. On the other side of the break, my man Evan Altman from CubsInsider.com is going to join us. He's going to be in town to see Sammy, Kyle Tucker, the newly signed Kyle Tucker, and all the rest of the Cubbies. So don't go anywhere, folks. My man Evan Altman coming up next. Keep it locked right here. Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago.
calling. Few will earn the title. United States Marine. The few, the proud Marines.
Hey, it's your boy, the Superback, Shawn Sierra, and be sure to follow Sports Zone Chicago on all social media platforms, on Facebook, Instagram, and our Roku channel. You can find us at Sports Zone Chicago, and on Twitter, we are at Sports Zone Shy. Also, be sure to download our mobile app so you can take Sports Zone Chicago with you on the go.
How do you take care of your mind health?
For my mental health, I meditate in the mornings.
I have my dogs. They're the best.
I just find ways that help me just relax.
Finding things that make me happy, like being close to my family.
I meditate a lot and read books.
I have hobbies outside of the game. I'm able to switch off. I'm able to turn my brain off from the game of basketball.
Your mind health matters.
Your mind health matters.
We are looking for a few heroes, mentors, trailblazers, innovators, a passion to change lives, spark curiosity, open hearts, and awaken minds, help students answer the question, who am I? This could be your calling, but this is no job. It's the journey of a lifetime. Be a hero. Be a teacher.
Mental health and learning disorders don't discriminate. 17 million children and adolescents in the United States live with disorders like anxiety, depression, ADHD, and dyslexia. Less than half get the help they need to thrive. Help the Child Mind Institute change these children's lives. Visit childmind.org.
Ozzie will be bunting.
Yes, drive hit deep to left field. Get out of here! Sox win! Baseball season's underway. There goes Sosa, pitch taken, throw down to second, and there it is. Sammy Sosa becomes the first Cub in franchise history to have 30 or more stolen bases, 30 or more home runs in the same season.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago. That's our boy, Slam and Sam. He's back, baby. I'm telling you, I'm so fired up. I love baseball. All right, you guys know football is my number one sport. Okay, it's no secret. But I love baseball, especially as I've gotten older and appreciated the strategy. Listen to the Hawk Harrelson and Steve Stone and pitching and how each pitch matters. And then when you get to the playoffs, you understand how important how big difference a 1-0 count is versus 0-1 count to a pitcher and a hitter, and like the psychological, the mental part of the game. I think that's what really attracts me. But the excitement is the home runs, the doubles, the gappers, the stolen bases, all those things. Sammy provided it for us for a long time, and I'm just happy. And I know he didn't start with us, but he was with us first, the White Sox, before he went over to the Cubs. So I still got a special place in my heart for Sammy, and I'm happy he's back. But my next guest is going to be in town a little while. He might rub elbows with Sammy. He's the editor-in-chief of CubsInsider.com. You can find him on Twitter at Evan Altman. Guys, just welcome back to Shawn and Maya, Evan Altman. Evan, what's up, Papa? How are you?
Hey, man, I'm good. It's Friday, so I woke
Sam,
up feeling
Sam
a
and
little bit
Sammy
unusual.
Friday, baby.
Yeah, Sammy's back. First time in 2 decades he's been welcomed back into the organization. So it was a long time coming, and I sincerely hope that that this is a function of him going into the Cubs Hall of Fame. We should hear about that tonight. I assume that those things are going hand in hand, because it would be really odd for them to kind of bury the hatchet like this and then not do that honor with him, right? I feel like those things, but obviously there's a lot of other things going on around the Cubs, and a lot of people feel like this is a kind of a PR stunt to distract from that. I don't really buy that, but it is going to distract from a lot of that at the same time. I think a lot of folks are going to be really happy. Even if you don't like, and there's a lot of people that are still, I think they mostly lurk on Facebook, but there's a lot of people who are still upset about Sammy and whatever. But like, you can't have this guy as a pariah when he holds all these franchise records, and when he meant, and I apologize for kind of just going with a monologue right off the jump, but I got to throw this out there, because if it were not for Sammy Sosa doing what he did in the 90s and early 2000s, the Chicago Cubs don't have the most expensive tickets in the National League. The Chicago Cubs are not the draw that they are. They were middle of the pack at best in terms of the draw. A lot of people love to romanticize that, but Sammy Sosa was the Cubs for a good decade there. He was the reason people tuned in to watch them. He carried them into the playoffs. And so to have ownership that is reaping the rewards of what he sowed 20 years ago and has been since they took over the team, to not welcome him back immediately is just a complete joke. So the fact that this is finally moving on, again, it's no longer acrimonious. He can be welcomed back. I love that for them, and I just hope that this is something they can continue the relationship.
And I'm happy for you fans. Like I said, I love Sammy, dude. Sammy was, and Evan, you and I we've been rocking for years now, and I'm not a Cub fan by any stretch, but damn, Sammy was fun to freaking watch.
Yeah, I mean, he was, of all the, like, look at what happened. We talk about the home run race between him and McGuire, but McGuire was this stoic, quiet dude who didn't give a lot of this. Sammy was out front, man. He was in all the national commercials. He had the Sega baseball game. He had the Pepsi ads and whatever else. Like, he was the Cubs' big. We can talk about all the guys they've had recently, and Chris Bryant, Javi Baez, Anthony Rizzo. Those guys combined on that World Series team did not have just the national attention the way Sosa did. It didn't matter who you were a fan of. You would show up to the ballpark. You'd go to Wrigley. You'd follow him on the road to go and see him play, right? You wanted to see what he was going to do. And Javi's the closest one, I think, in terms of showing up just to watch him play.
Yeah, but the crazy fanfare for one guy, Javi is probably the closest.
But it was wild. That 98 season, that home run, because, again, we talk about all the time, right? Bringing baseball out of what had been kind of a funk from the strike a few years earlier, and just, putting the Cubs back on the map in such a big way. And there were a lot of other guys that were a part of that too, right? Like, it wasn't just Sosa, but he was the Michael Jordan to everybody else's, Scottie Pippen and Horace Grant, if we're talking about another Chicago kind of, he was, Walter Payton didn't do it alone for the Bears. There were tons of other big time names, tons of Hall of Famers on that team. But when you talk Bears, it's Walter Payton and then a big gap before you get to anybody else. It was Sosa, whole big gap, then the rest of the team. And so, again, to have him back, to have him hopefully, embraced by all the, I'm sure there'll be, again, a few haters out there, whatever, detractors, maybe if we want to look at it that way. But no, this is super cool. And I'm happy for him, right? He's made mistakes. People differ on how much he's owned them or not. But again, after 20 years, for everything that he's done, I feel like getting his flowers finally is worthwhile. And I'm glad I get to be there to see it. And I really hope that he gets the ovation that he deserves, and that everybody kind of welcomes him back, and that it's just a fun atmosphere. There's a lot of stuff we can bitch about on a daily basis, but this is one of those things that hopefully we can just be excited to celebrate.
I agree. So just staying with this, to get his jersey retired, to get a statue outside, not obviously not today, but eventually.
I think that's going to take some time. I think if we do, again, my guess is Cubs Hall of Fame. And that obviously there's a lot more people who are in that who don't have a flag on the foul pole, who don't have a statue yet. So I think you got to walk before you can run a little bit. Let's get him back in, break ground, because when you look at all the other guys who have their statues, right, like those are surefire lock like all-time Cubs. There's no controversy around, at least among the fans, like no controversy about them having that stuff. I think it'll take a while to maybe reintegrate him back into the organization, and then I think we can maybe start talking about those things. And they're perfectly. I mean, can you imagine like having him doing his home run hop as the statue? Like, I mean, dude, it's such an iconic move after the homer, and then
is that a statue? Is that a statue where he's like this?
I think so. It's got to be like that would be so fun. But yeah, I think we go Hall of Fame first. Give it a few years and maybe see how things kind of go from there. Yeah, we'll see.
What about it? What about ambassadorship? Do you bring him back and say, hey, you know what? Come summertime. First of all, Arizona, come hang out with us in Arizona. Obviously, it's not like you need a marketing draw to get people to go to Arizona in March. Okay. But to have Sammy there, I mean, those tickets will be going at a premium. And then, hey, come hang out with us in the summer. Just be around the ballpark. Do you think that is on the table? That would be on the table as well?
I think it certainly should be, right? I mean, I think that's when you look at, the players have had it as ambassadors, very similar, right? It's the same Billy Williams, Ryan Sandberg, Fergie Jenkins, guys who do have their statues out there. But I also look at it like how many of those guys are Hispanic or Latin or speak Spanish at all? None of them. And I do think that you're looking at a demographic of fans, not that they're going to do something just to, well, I guess they kind of could, but just to be more diverse in that area. But I think it's not a bad idea at all to have someone who, especially if you bring him in, who does maybe kind of strike a chord with more fans than maybe just the guys that you've got currently. And he's not a young guy by any means, but all their other ambassadors that they're kind of leaning on, we're talking about some pretty old dudes right now, right? So yeah, so you got to get some of them who start catering, to those, because again, I mean, how many people, like, I didn't even get to watch Fergie Jenkins play, right? Or certainly not Billy Williams. I mean, Ryan Sandberg, yes, like that's my dude, right? Forever and ever. And sincerely want to continue to send out great wishes to him and his battle with cancer. And I know he'll be there today, but yeah, as far as being able to appeal, we've moved well past the point where the younger generation of fans, like really anybody under the age of, I guess, 30 at this point, didn't really come to the Cubs through the same channels that a lot of us did with WGN, like literally that channel. The radio station has kind of flipped a few times over the last several years, and now it's steady, but the way people come to the game is different. And I think having those players to whom they can relate and that's a little bit different too. It's harder when you got guys who don't stick with the team their whole careers or for a bulk of their careers.
Right.
I mean, Derek Lee may go into the Cubs Hall of Fame, but Cubs fans think of him as a Cub. But does the greater baseball community think of him that way? I'm not entirely sure. He bounces around a little bit. Is that an ambassador? I don't know. Is it Mark Grace? So they're guys like that. But even them, that's still, we're looking at a kind of an older demographic. So how do you continue to relate and evolve? And I'll be interested to see how the Cubs continue to do that as it moves forward.
Well, yeah, it should be a good weekend for you guys. It's not going to be as good as ours next week at the Ramova Theater, but I'm telling it'll be all right. I was telling earlier, my tailor is a huge Cub fan, a Northside guy, but his shop is in Bridgeport on 31st, right by the Vida. And I was there yesterday, and he was just busting my balls about that. I'm like, hey, Chance the Rapper has some pull, baby. He's an investor.
Yeah, there you go.
Jennifer Hudson. Oh man. Well, let's get so again. It should be a good time, and I hope he gets. And there's going to be some people, but I hope it's just I hope that place freaking erupts, dude. when they introduce him, I hope it erupts, and I hope he gets tears in his eyes because it's been 20 years, and this is his team. You know what I mean? This is his team. Sammy is forever going to be known as a Cub. Yeah, he played with the White Sox. Yeah, he played with the Rangers. But Sammy Sosa is forever going to be known as Chicago Cubs. So hopefully, the applause is so crazy that it brings him to tears. And that's probably the only fitting thing that it would be, just to bring him to tears because everybody is so happy to see him. But let's talk about what's going on the field now and some of the moves. Tucker. 1 year, $16.5 million avoided arbitration. Both sides gave a little. Your thoughts on that? And if you think he's going to ink a long-term deal, it's just literally one and done for him.
Yeah, I mean it's so tough, right? And there was the getting the deal done, I think, was never in question. It looked a little bad, from kind of the optics of getting this guy. You trade for this superstar, and then you can't come to terms with him immediately. Now, I get part of that too. Is like, hey, they got him. This process was already underway, technically, right? Like it's already in the middle of the offseason. Now you're trying to bring him in here, evaluate all this stuff. He only played half the season. It's a little bit weird. I don't think one way or the other it'll impact whether they can get it done. That's going to be dependent upon, are the Cubs willing to stretch to what could be $300, $350, $400 million? I mean, this is a guy who, and, even admittedly myself, before I really dug into it, I didn't put Kyle Tucker up there. You think Alex Bregman, you think of Jose Altuve, and there's other guys on that team, right? You could name a few others who you're probably who have greater name recognition, right? Even among like baseball fans who aren't just stuck on their one team. But then you look at this dude and you're like,
you look at the numbers.
He's a top 5 to 10 hitter since he started as a regular. His first 2 seasons were kind of short, but we're talking about like comparable numbers to Juan Soto in a lot of areas.
Yes.
And it's like,
yes,
and without, but he's never had the hype. And so how does that square, right? Does his camp try to lean on those numbers and say, hey, this guy's worth this? Or does the team look at it and say, yeah, but you're still not Juan Soto. You're not Ohtani. Like, you're not the draw, right? Those are like, I could justify the money for Ohtani because he's probably making the Dodgers way more than that over the course of that deal in other revenue. But Tucker is not that same draw. So it'll be interesting. Is he willing to listen to an extension, which he says he has? Of course, he would say that. But are the Cubs willing to meet that price and give him enough that it's going to say to him, hey, maybe free agency is not the best idea. Because what if you have a down year? I look at that. Like all these guys, they want to hit that last year, right? Earn that big contract. But what happens if you get hurt again? What happens if you don't put up those huge numbers? How much are you costing yourself, Sam Darnold? Right? Like, look at a guy like that who's like, man, he was looking at a monster extension, and then 2 games, and it's like, ooh, we're rethinking this.
Sam Darnold himself.
Yeah. I was like, oh, there he is. It took 16 games, but we found out who he really is.
We all know and love.
That's I was like, that's about it for Vikings quarterbacks. That's how it works. Like they look great for most of the season, and then come the late games, oh man, there goes your money. But no, I do think it's going to be really, really an interesting one because where's that inflection point? How much do you have to offer him for him to say, you know what? Yeah, that's a good idea. I don't want to go out and try to pitch myself in free agency. And I don't know that the Cubs are willing to push to that amount at this point.
Would it be better if he had it? Would it be better for the Cubs if he had a bad year? Because now there's really no, like, you can't really hide off it. You can't say, okay, like I said, the last thing that happens is what you look at. And here now you're having a down year. You're not the big draw. You're not the big name. You're not the big personality. I think that's what it is. His presence, his aura, his personality is what's really harming him. Right? You get a person who's a little more, I don't want to say flamboyant, but just more vocal, more out there. Their personality, their reputation kind of helps them, especially when you put up numbers. He doesn't have that big, he's, I don't want to say an average Joe, but he's just like a very quiet superstar. And, the closed mouths don't get fed on a boulevard. So.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think the best possible thing would be for him to have a really good, assuming he's open to negotiations during the season, right? For him to start out hot, for the team to start out well, for him to experience a baseball summer in Chicago and vice versa and be like, and then raise that kind of Q score, right? Get the public awareness really there and being like, hey, oh, this is a different deal, right? Playing and having fun in Chicago. No disrespect to Houston, but I mean, when it comes to the greater baseball consciousness outside, people just kind of don't like the Astros in general. But as I just said, like I even associate still like Carlos Correa and George Springer with the Astros more than I do Kyle Tucker, right? In a weird kind of a way. And part of that is just a function of being on a team that's just not quite, I think we see the Astros as this organization and with the cheating scandal and that kind of still hangs over it. Yeah, and that's how it looks versus some of the individuals. So if he's able to come in and be like, man, like, because Chicago will sell itself, you get to spend a summer there and things are, but on the flip side, if he comes out and doesn't do well, some of the fans may let him know a little bit more, right? It may not be nearly as fun, and so I think there's something to that. I think, again, having a good first half and coming out and really being like, dude, this is a place I could see myself sticking around for a while. I think, and then, the Cubs got to show him the money, of course, but being able to recruit him without even having to actively try might be the best thing for them.
Yeah, guys, we're joined by Evan Altman, editor-in-chief at CubsInsider.com, talking Cubs baseball here on Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago. Yeah, I'm interested to see how that plays out because, you guys got a superstar, in the last year of his deal, unfortunately for you guys, and it's touch and go. You already had the almost with the arbitration. So you got that deal done. But talk to me about your starting pitching or anything else you're really worried about. Talk to me about the starting pitching. With that, you want another arm, lefty, righty? What do you give me your thoughts on the rotation?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's very solid, right? Like there's nothing completely out. Like, Justin Steele has been incredibly consistent. Again, that's a guy where you look at his numbers, you're like right there, almost the same ERA, almost the same FIP, strikeouts, walks, everything. Like his performance is very consistent year to year, but he's not quite at that number one level, right? He's not like an ace overall. He might be the staff ace, right, but he's not a guy who you're looking at as far as who'd be named among MLB aces. Shota Imanaga, really close, but now you got two lefties up there. You got a third lefty with Matthew Boyd, who they brought in, right? Who's super high upside when he's on, but the dude hasn't even pitched 100 innings in the last several years. And so how much do you count on that? I like kind of the top end and where that profiles. You've got some safety in Javier Assad. You got Jameson Taillon, who's gotten a lot better from his first year to his second. And I think there's some things that he's worked on this year as well that will continue to help that. But you don't really have it's going to be tough to cover those innings. And we're talking about a team that had a pretty rough bullpen, especially in the first half. They cleaned some things up, but they haven't done enough to address that bullpen, which is one thing in and of itself, but becomes even more of an issue when you look at, okay, how are we going to cover 800, 850, 900 innings with this starting rotation when, one of these guys like Imanaga and Taillon are maybe the most quote unquote dependable just in terms of, and even Imanaga's used to kind of 6-day starts. So Steele's been hurt, every year pretty much, sometimes worse than others, but how much do you count on? Nobody's going 200 innings anymore. And the one dude you got, like even getting 100 innings out of Matt Boyd is a stretch. So now you got to lean more heavily on the bullpen. So yeah, I would like to see them personally go out, get another frontline type starter, even if that's like another number two, because hey, you got a bunch of those guys that are still fine, and go with like a 6-man rotation or kind of a modified deal where you're having somebody in there to eat up some more of those innings, spread it out a little bit, take pressure off the bullpen, and lean a little bit more into high leverage versus having to have a bunch of dudes who are kind of that mediocre middle relief trying to get 2 or 3 innings out of.
Do you think the Cubs right now at this stage are going to be favorites for the NL Central?
I mean, it looks like they are, right? The projections kind of say that, but at the same time, that's kind of what they said last year too, right? And the Brewers keep doing what the Brewers do. Despite trading Corbin Burns, looked like they were trying to sell off everybody, despite having Devin Williams hurt for almost the whole season. Now he's been traded, but he wasn't even there last year for the most part anyway. But the other issue is like, if you're projected at first and your win over under is somewhere like 86.5, 87.5 games, it's hard to be really confident in that because there's so much noise that's in those numbers to begin with. But you say like, yeah, you're not even projected to win 90 games. Well, any one little thing, whether it be an injury, whether it be another team signing a guy, something that just somebody underperforms here, that could cost you a couple games here or there. And so when we're talking about if a team only needs like 85 wins and you're not living up to it. So I just think they still need to raise the ceiling. Right. The floor is fine, I think, for them. They've done a good job with it. We've seen it last 2 years, 83 wins. And I think that's right about where their floor is now as well. But what have you done or what will you do to add more wins to the top end projections so that you've actually got something to go off of. I think the floor and the ceiling right now, like they added a drop ceiling that's it's only like 6 feet tall, so their heads are kind of scraping it. Right, you're living in a very tight limbo there, to where I don't think there's a whole lot of room for them up or down. So again, vault the ceiling a little bit. That'll help. 1 or 2 more signings could really do a lot, honestly.
Well, what about the manager? The manager, they got him from Milwaukee. There was a lot of hype about him coming over last year. He stole their manager. He was, one of the best managerial minds in the game, and they still finished where they finished. How different do you see Craig Counsell this year after a year under his belt? Another year in Arizona. And kind of getting the lay of the land here in Chicago and all the expectations. I mean, it's easy to see when you're in Milwaukee, but when you're in that seat, it's a whole different atmosphere. How do you see Craig Counsell doing a better job and getting this team to possibly 90 wins?
Yeah, I think if you listen to what he had said last year at Cubs convention, it's kind of about his own methods and kind of how he goes about things. He's not he is a numbers guy. I don't want to say he doesn't pay attention to that, but he's big on getting to know his players, understanding their personalities, knowing how they work together, how they fit within the team. And it's tough to do that, especially even if you've seen them from a distance, right? As being a division rival, you've seen them from across the field, but then getting to know those guys and being, I talked about the bullpen. That's one of the strengths that Milwaukee's had for the last, 2 decades, certainly the last 10 years, of having just stud closers and solid. Not every one of them's got to be a superstar, but what their roles are. You understand going into the season, here is what my pitching staff looks like. Here is what I'm expecting out of them and where I expect to play these guys. And I think not only was he given kind of a hodgepodge mix of guys as far as the relievers the Cubs had last year, but then there's a lot of poor performance at the back end. And so that forced a lot of recalibration. He's having to work that out on the fly, again, not having these long-term relationships with these guys. So I think giving him another year, understanding those personalities, I do think it's still going to take another move or two, specifically in the bullpen. You go out and you get a Kirby Yates, who can close out games. You get a Kyle Finnegan. I know a lot of people are a little iffy on that. It's a lot of hard contact. That could be an issue, but Porter Hodge did a really good job at the back end last year. Julian Merriweather has done a good job in some high leverage situations. So bring in another guy who's got that experience. Now you've got your 7th, 8th, and 9th innings more or less locked down. That takes a ton of pressure off of the manager. Takes a lot off his plate in terms of what he's got to what levers he's got to pull, buttons he's got to push. So if they're able to do that, I think it does step up. And then again, you look at a guy like Tucker, who's a superstar. No discredit to Cody Bellinger, right? But it's like between the injuries and then his performance was good. It was not that of an MVP caliber guy who could just put the team on his back for a week or two at a time if need be. And I think Tucker gives him that, solidifies things a little bit more. And then, hopefully another year with PCA. There's a lot of things that should be more solid for Counsell this year. And I think that'll help a lot.
Dude, I'd love to sit and talk with you more Cubs baseball. Not joking, seriously. But we're up against the clock. I appreciate it, man. Hey, you have a good, safe trip getting up here to the Shy. And you better scream your lungs out when Slamming Sammy gets introduced.
I'll do what I can.
All right, boss. I appreciate your time. Thanks, Evan.
All right, take care.
All righty. Guys, that's Evan Altman from CubsInsider.com. He's heading up here for Cubs Convention, which starts today, Friday through Sunday, at the Sheraton Grand Chicago Hotel. And the big news is the return of Slammin' Sammy Sosa. But what we're going to do, we're going to take a quick break, and on the other side of the break, we're going to switch gears and talk a little Bears football. We got a lot to talk. So my man Lorin Cox, the host of the Locked On Bears podcast, is going to join me. So don't go anywhere, folks. Keep it locked right here. Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago. Hey, it's your boy, the SuperBack, Shawn Sierra, and be sure to follow Sports Zone Chicago on all social media platforms, on Facebook, Instagram, and our Roku channel. You can find us at Sports Zone Chicago, and on Twitter, we are at Sports Zone Shy. Also, be sure to download our mobile app so you can take Sports Zone Chicago with you on the go.
Time out. How are you feeling right now? Happy? Excited? Angry? Overwhelmed? One of the best things you can do for your mind health is to name what you're feeling. It can sharpen your awareness and help you talk about your feelings with someone you trust. Here are 3 questions to ask yourself. Where are your thoughts right now? In the past, the present, the future? Do you notice any sensations in your body? Is your heart beating fast? Is there a flutter in your stomach? Or are you fully relaxed? What do you need right now? Time with others? Time to yourself? Remember, there's power in this awareness. So find ways to identify what you're feeling today.
Hi, guys. Hey. Hi, Megan. Hey, Jessica. Megan, you're a tramp. Ryan Fitch told me you guys made out. Everybody knows. He said your breath smells like garbage. And he almost puked. He says you're the most desperate girl he knows, besides your mom. How many boyfriends does she have anyway? Lots? Your makeup makes you look like a clown. That zit is huge, zit face. Ugly.
Hey, bud, what you doing?
I'm playing with cars.
Cars? Can you show me what a car does? Whoa, 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 whoa. Hold on a second. First of all, this is a school zone. So you need to put down your cell phone, stop texting, and let's get to driving. Now you're coming up to a stop sign, right? You need to slow down and stop before you hit that Y line. I want you to look left, right, left. You don't want to get hit by a car going on your left, and to your right to make sure you don't get sideswiped by a guy coming from your right. You're coming, and you see a crosswalk. You better slow your horses down, because the #1 rule of driving is always yield to pedestrians. Now stop, pull over, and you are done driving. Gosh, what do they teach you kids in school nowadays?
Second down and 6. Williams play fake. Now throws wide open. It's DJ Moore, the former Carolina Panther, is in for a Bears touchdown. 34 yards. Williams to Moore.
Finally connected last week against the Rams, and this is the matchup that everyone was looking for. J.C. Horn going against DJ Moore. He thought that he was going to pass off this receiver to somebody else. Instead, everybody's playing.
Panthers must cross midfield, get to the Bears 49 for a first down. Dalton wrapped up. Down he goes. From the 47 on first down. Across midfield, it's Swift.
Nice tackle.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago. Those comes courtesy of Fox. Those were our Bears earlier in the year before it all went to hell. Before it all went to hell. And that's no exaggeration whatsoever. My next guest is a good friend of the program. He's been rocking with us for some years now, and I appreciate his time every time he's able to come on. He's the host of the Locked On Bears podcast. You can find him on Twitter at Cox Sports 1, like Fox Sports 1, but with a C. Guys, let's welcome back to Shawn and Maya, Lorin Cox. Lorin, what's up, Papa? How are you?
Hey, I'm doing well. Just trying to find my way through this coaching search like everybody else.
Dude. Oh, did I tell you I interviewed last week via Zoom as well?
Oh, well, congratulations. Yeah, mine's scheduled for next week, so we're getting there.
That's hilarious. So give me your thoughts, man. Give me your thoughts on how the season ended, because we hadn't talked a little bit. Caleb ended up having 3,500 yards or so, 5-6 interceptions, 20 tutties. Give me your thoughts on the way he finished up, or he finished this season, despite all the craziness that happened his rookie year.
Yeah, I think the Week 18 win over Green Bay was, I mean, obviously it's important when you beat the Packers anytime, but I think that was such a, I don't want to say perfect cherry on top because it was such a terrible end of the season, but that was really important. When you saw Caleb over the course of the season at least 4 different times, against Washington and then the first Packers, Vikings, and Lions games, drive the team down at the end of those games, put them in a chance to win or tie in the final few seconds of the game, and to not be able to win any of those games and then get a chance again in Green Bay drives them down and puts them in a position to win, and they actually win. Like, to be able to break through that way just once at the end of the season, I think matters so much, and it restores some of his confidence in himself. It proves to his teammates, like, hey, I can find ways for us to win as long as the head coach isn't making clock management decisions, or special teams coordinator isn't letting our kicks get blocked, or whatever it might be, right? Like, so many times Caleb got them there and then they lost for reasons that weren't really his fault. So to be able to push that through at the end, I think was like really important, just for the vibes, for everyone to just sort of remember, like, yeah, this kid can do some really special stuff.
Yeah, I thought he had a good year. I thought he had a really good year. Definitely room for improvement. I still don't see him as generational, but that's okay. Like, I don't need a generational quarterback to win a Super Bowl. All right, I'll name you a shitload of quarterbacks who won Super Bowls who aren't generational. And I think that's the issue with a lot of Bears fans, especially the Caleb cult. If you say he's not generational, now they want to come at you, with daggers. It doesn't mean he can't be great. And I think he can be. It doesn't mean he can't lead us to the Super Bowl. I think he can. He just needs the proper coaching. I know there was a smart guy who at one point in time, I'm not sure if you heard it, but he said coaching matters. All right. And that's the whole thing, get him a good coach. And I think there's a lot of things he did. I thought they coached a lot of the Caleb out of him. Okay. They were like, hey, be careful with the ball. Be careful with the ball. Careful with the ball. No interceptions. I think a lot of the sacks he took were because of not trying to be not playing the way Caleb plays, that one of the Heisman made him the number 1 overall pick. Okay. I think you get a coach who once a coach he gets him and uses him the right way and kind of allows him to be him. I think this kid can be really, really special. So looking forward to that. Now with the 37 scheduled interviews for the head coach, why do you think they're catching such a wide net? Is it just like a smokescreen to kind of wait on Ben Johnson? Or do you think they really care about some of the other people that they're bringing in?
Yeah. I mean, I think there's some value to talking to at least more than just a couple of candidates. 20 seems like a bit of overkill, but I think there's some real utility to saying, okay, well, let's talk to the Arizona Cardinals offensive coordinator. Like, he's working with a mobile quarterback over there. Let's just see what he would think about Caleb Williams. Like, each guy, you can try and find some value in getting their perspective. 20 perspectives probably feels like too many perspectives, but I think it's sort of a pushback to the first time when they hired Matt Eberflus and Ryan Poles, where it was a smaller pool of candidates at the time. And I think they got some criticism for not casting a wider net. And so now the Bears have always been kind of a reactive organization to pointed public criticism. And now I think they're swinging the other side of the spectrum. And Ryan Poles saying, I'm going to talk to everybody, make sure I don't leave any stones unturned. And in the meantime, he does have to wait for some of these coaches to exit the playoffs anyway. So you might as well interview some coaches in that time, but I don't think it's super necessary to do this many.
Why do you think they didn't interview people like Bill Belichick? Do you think that they are averse to having strong personalities in that building? Because Belichick's going to tell you how it is. It's not like he knows anything. I mean, he only got 6 Super Bowls, 8 is including his coordinator jobs. So he's definitely no punches pulled, and he's straight, no chaser. Do you think that was one of the reasons they didn't interview him, because of the brutal honesty that would come from Bill Belichick?
I would guess Bill Belichick was more about like roster control and power. Belichick wants to be in charge of a lot wherever he goes, and certainly going to college made him fully in charge of pretty much everything there. Whereas I think there might be some power struggle with Poles and Warren, but I do think there's something to the idea of like the strong personality thing. Like, yeah, they still interviewed Mike Vrabel. Like, they're not afraid to interview guys with strong personalities. Todd Monken is kind of that style of coach as well, who they're talking to today, actually. But I would suspect they won't hire that style of coach because they never have. Like, if you think, at least not in, I don't want to say never, not in at least the McCaskey tenure, the George McCaskey tenure, that you think about Matt Eberflus, Matt Nagy, John Fox, Mark Trestman, like they're all a little bit more softer spoken guys. They're not super fiery. They're a little bit more even keeled. And they didn't go after somebody like Jim Harbaugh, or they passed on somebody like Bruce Arians. Like, it's always felt like the fiery coach is not the type of guy that George McCaskey and company prefer to have running their organization, because, famously, George doesn't like it when people swear, and Mike Vrabel uses the F word sometimes. So that was never going to work.
It's a shame. I think it's an embarrassment that, when you put something like that, make that such a big determining factor. It really goes to show how little you know about football. And I think it's well documented that, he's admitted he's a fan. And my biggest question is that if you're a fan, why are you making decisions? Fans don't need to be making decisions, and that whole thing. So give me your top three. Even Vrabel. I know Vrabel was my top guy. He was my top guy. I wanted him. And you heard when they asked some of the players and DeMarcus Walker, he was like, "Man, that bullshit's gonna stop." I mean, he was adamant about how the team would be received by him. Like, he's all business. And that's why I want him. I want those type of coaches. Who are you? Give me your top three in no particular order.
Yeah, so I've definitely been a big Ben Johnson guy. I mean, that's obviously, perhaps the most popular candidate there. But I think even beyond just what the Lions have been able to do this year and stuff, like, he's been consistently good. Like, he helped make Jared Goff better. Like, and early in the Lions' tenure, they didn't have a super talented offense, and he was able to elevate that offense. He's a guy who's coached under like 4 different head coaches on 2 different teams. They always want to keep him around and bring him around. He's just someone who has a lot of the green flags throughout the process. It's always an unknown if he's going to become a good head coach or not, but everything along the way has been the kind of green flags you look for in a coaching candidate. So I go with him. I go with Aaron Glenn as well from the Lions. I think his background is really intriguing. The way, when you hear him talk, man, he just sounds like a good football coach. And then I'm a big fan of Pete Carroll personally. I think, yes, he's old, but I think he's done what puts Pete Carroll high up for me is that he's done a really good job of not only developing players, but also developing coaches. Like, he's got a deep coaching tree of offensive and defensive guys who've come up through Seattle and gone on to be successful. Dave Canales of the Carolina Panthers, and of course Dan Quinn and the Washington Commanders, and a bunch of other guys along the way. Like, yeah, he doesn't get them all right, Shane Waldron and Ryan Schottenheimer, et cetera. But I think there's been enough of a track record there that Carroll gets coaches and he gets players. And yeah, he's old, but we'll deal with that later on.
Carroll was my number 2 because in listening to the Richard Sherman podcast, what he said was breathe life into Russ. And I said, damn, imagine if he breathes life into Caleb.
Mm-hmm.
Caleb had a great year as a rookie. He had a great year, despite all the nonsense bullshit that he dealt with. Imagine if a coach breathes life into that son of a gun. How much better that dude can be. If that dude becomes that much better, how much better will the Bears be? And isn't that the bottom line? We're all Bears fans here. So that's why Pete Carroll to me. And I thought that would be a great idea. Like, hey, listen, Pete Carroll, if he's into it, how many years you thinking, dog? All right, 3, maybe 4? Okay, cool. How about we bring in a successor for you? All right, how's Thomas Brown? Would you be willing? You can work that out, and boom. So after 3 or 4 years, when Pete's ready to hang it up, there's no change in consistency with play caller and quarterback, but also Thomas Brown now has more experience seeing things another 3 years as an offensive coordinator. I like that, and that's one of the reasons I like Pete Carroll. And plus Pete Carroll's he's a winner. All right, look at USC, look at Seattle. I mean, he's one call away from being a back-to-back Super Bowl winning coach. You know what I mean? Very big play, but one play away. So yeah, he's my dude. Talk to me about where you want to go. Let's go on the defensive side of the ball. Well, actually, let's get to just the draft in general. Where would you like to go? We got 3 picks in the top 41, 42. Okay. Where would you like them to address those 3 picks? Because those are pretty good picks. Those are starters, quality picks. Those guys need to be impacting on day one.
Agreed. I want to be careful with these picks in particular because it's easy to look at it and say, okay, like, the Bears need to get a better edge rusher right now, and the Bears need to get a better offensive line right now, and think like, who can plug in and be that true starter upgrade right now? And Ryan Poles is going to look at this, not only how this player helps you this year, but how this player is supposed to help you for the next 5 years and maybe the next 10 years. And so that's where it's like, it's not just as simple as like, well, where's the biggest need where you can also want a young player there? It's like, no, where's this player going to be great for 5 years? Like, you can make the argument that drafting a left tackle in the first round, you have bigger fish to fry, so do you need to get a left tackle there? But you're really talking about grabbing a guy for the next 5 to 10 years, not just what position you're upgrading right now for this year. I still think edge rusher is going to be priority number one for me. Like, I want a better option opposite Montez Sweat, whether DeMarcus Walker is a cap casualty or just moves down the depth chart to be a rotational guy. Either way, like, I want that other edge rusher there to boost this defensive line quite a bit. I think the first round is too early to take a guard or a center, but I think I'd like to use multiple picks in this draft on offensive linemen. Get another tackle, get another guard, get a center. I mean, whatever it takes. I want like
number 10.
I want sign at that position, and I want draft pick sign at that position. I want a veteran guy and a young guy at every single position on that offensive line. There's no excuse to not just invest. The Lions have showed you what investing in the offensive line can do, and a lot of the teams in the playoffs, the Eagles, have a great offensive line as well. Like, there's so much reason to put investment into that group, and I think most of the rest of the roster can kind of shake out, where if you get a good coach in, they're going to get more out of the wide receivers than the Bears got last year. They're going to get more out of the tight ends than what the Bears got last year. They're going to get more out of the secondary than what the Bears got last year, because there's still a lot of talent at those spots. So use the draft pick where the talent is still lacking.
So number 10, D-line. All right, edge. You want the 3 tech or the edge at number 10?
I take either one. I probably edge rusher. I think based on this draft class, I think there's going to be some good edge rushers in that spot. I don't know if there's a 3 tech who's going to be good enough for 10, but give me the best player available, honestly. Like, and preferably an edge rusher there. But if it's a tackle, I mean, just about anything but wide receiver, tight end, or quarterback, I'd probably consider
Kicker.
there.
Or placeholder. Kick holder.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Kicker, punter, long snapper. Yeah. But like, hell, I mean, if there was a great linebacker there, if you really think he's the best player there, like Tremaine Edmonds and TJ Edwards aren't going to be here forever. Like, you can find a way to get these guys involved. Like, I probably wouldn't want a linebacker there, but I take a great corner there. I take a great safety there. The Bears can take more talent if it's truly the best player there at the 10th overall pick.
Is there any way you see the Bears trading up? Because I highly doubt Abdul Carter, who's widely touted as the top defensive top edge rusher. Doesn't mean there aren't other good ones. There's a lot of good ones coming in this draft. And remember, we talked about it all last year, even before last year's draft. Like, well, wait till next year. There's tons of good edge rushers coming out. Well, I guess this is the year. You take, would you trade up, or you good with the amount of edge rushers and go back and just wait, sit pat at 10 and see who you get?
Yeah, like, I like to think trading up is when you either need this one guy to put you over the top, or you feel like it's a draft class where if this is the last guy at that tier, and if I don't get an edge rusher there, then I don't like the rest of the guys until later on in the draft. But even then, like, edge rusher is the kind of position where there's always guys in every round. There might not be elite guys in every round, but you're never going to have like an edge rusher class where you can't find anybody in the second or third round. So I'd be surprised to see Poles get aggressive and move up. I mean, maybe you move up a spot or two, but I don't think he's going to jump from 10 to 5 to make sure he gets like the number 1 guy in the class. I think there'll be a few different guys where he could sit at 10 and really like his options there. I don't think we've seen him really move up much at all in his tenure, at least in the first round there. So I think he wants to be able to reload a little bit and start to get more of his picks dispersed around this roster and enjoy having 3 in the top 41.
Do you think he trades back? Say his guy, he got 4 guys, all right, that he wants, and they're all gone. Do you see him trading back, acquiring more picks, maybe a second round pick, and just building that way?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's something he's moved back like 1 or 2 spots. It seems like every year it feels like with the Jalen Carter stuff, and there's a lot of talk about that with Rome Odunze. Like, it's something that I think he's going to look strongly at. But I don't know, he seems to be a guy who pretty early on identifies a player he wants in that spot. Like, I think they liked Darnell Wright a long time through that process in that first round. And certainly Rome Odunze was a receiver. They were just kind of hoping their guy fell to them in both of those spots. So I'm guessing it's going to be something similar where they're sitting at 10, making sure that at 7, 8, and 9, their guy doesn't go. And then maybe if their guy goes, that's when he's more inclined to make a move down. But I don't know. I think Poles is going to try and take it easy here. But we'll see with the coaches, though, because that could make a big difference on who wants to be aggressive for what versus maybe just kind of taking it easy and riding it out.
I know this is an extreme long shot. Extreme. If he's there, and that's a huge if, bold, italicized, and underlined if. Are you a fan of Mason Graham?
I haven't had a lot of time to go through the tape thoroughly, but everything I've seen from him at Michigan, I've been really impressed with. I don't think he'll be there at 10, but I'd absolutely take him if he was there at 10, or even if, I don't know, if he started falling a little bit and you could jump up a couple of different spots. I mean, I think that's the kind of player that could be really special for your program. But at the same time, like, feel similarly about Abdul Carter from Penn State on the edge too. Like there's multiple guys to like, where it's not like I feel like I have to get Mason Graham or else I'm not going to like who I find in the first round. So that's where it becomes a little bit tricky.
Okay. What about the offense? Are we good at the skill position, or do you want any other skill positions? Because Keenan Allen is a free agent. Your thoughts on him coming back? And then are we good at the skill position?
Yeah, I think with a good coaching staff, they shouldn't need more at the skill position. You can always take more at the skill position, and I would always look to add more at the skill position. But like DJ Moore and Rome Odunze and Cole Kmet and DeAndre Swift and Roshan Johnson, like that should be at the very minimum like enough. Again, you aim higher for sure, and if Keenan Allen will come back at a decent price, absolutely. But like, you know, we've seen coaches like Ben Johnson or Joe Brady in Buffalo, or even Todd Monken in Baltimore, by some arguments, like do more with less. You know, some of these guys only have like one-ish good wide receiver, maybe one or two, and then like a decent tight end and a decent running back. Like a good offensive coaching staff should be able to do plenty with DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, Cole Kmet, DeAndre Swift. Like that should be enough for a good offensive coach to get the job done. Now, then if you're sitting there in the third round of the draft and there's a wide receiver you really like, yeah, absolutely take him. Or if there's a tight end you really like, absolutely go get him. Like I don't see any reason not to add more at the skill position, but I would much rather prioritize offensive line investment and maybe retool in some different spots in the defense than, you know, like skill position at that point is a little bit more of a luxury, but that doesn't mean no either.
Okay. Guys, we're joined by Lorin Cox, the host of the Locked On Bears podcast, for a few more minutes talking Bears football here on Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago. What are your thoughts of him possibly? Because I believe this is Ryan Poles' final draft if he don't get his shit together. Should we not be surprised if we see any more projects like Kieran Amagaji in the third round? Because at third round, you still should be able to contribute. Maybe not a starter, but at least in a rotation at some particular point, whatever position it is. Do you think we're gonna stay clear of, or Ryan Poles is going to stay clear of those type of project guys in a draft that's very, very important to his job security?
Yeah, I wonder if the having 2 second-round picks maybe gives him more, in his eyes, like more freedom to do that, right? Where it's, okay, I've got 4 picks in the top 75 now. And so I could afford to take a project with one of those because I could still get, you know, three other picks in that range that can all be much more immediate contributors there. And I think from Ryan Poles' perspective, like, yes, the seat is hot and he needs to make this team better soon. But I can also see where if he drafts a project guy like another Karan Amagaji and 3 years from now that player turns out to be great, whether Ryan Poles is still here or not, that's a win on his resume that he can point to the next team he interviews with for whatever role that might be and say, yes, I drafted that project guy in Chicago and look at how great he became because I was the one who identified him as that player that was worth developing and getting to. So, like, yeah, there's some pressure to get guys that'll help you now, but I think he also is smart enough to know that, okay, if he drafts a bunch of players to help you right now and they're good for like this season but never get much better, then he's just delaying the inevitable firing in the future if those players don't develop into great players also. So I think he knows he's got to get the players who will be the best players for the next 3 to 5 years, even if year one, like rookies playing well or not playing well isn't going to be the difference between Ryan Poles being fired or not being fired. It's going to be more about how the new coaching staff does and how some of the other players, like some of the decisions he's already made on this roster, you know, how Caleb Williams keeps playing, how Rome Odunze keeps playing, what the rest of the offensive line looks like. Like this last batch of rookies won't be the straw that breaks the camel's back, but it certainly can help swing things a little bit in the positive or negative direction, depending on how well it goes right away.
Yeah, I think you and I differ a little then because I think he needs to get amongst who's going to play. I don't think he's got enough rope, so to speak, for projects, like especially after the Karen Amagaji, the Velus Jones, and the Zach Pickens, all third rounders, and none of them have really contributed at all. So I think he's got to get probably just as much of a sure thing or the best available dude. I just can't see any projects. I'll be pissed because you can't pick him. You can't pick him, or either that, or he just has the coaching staff that he has can't develop him, one or the other, or maybe a little bit of both. So
yeah, that's the other factor there. Like he's got to be able to trust that the coaching staff is going to develop them, and certainly we haven't seen a lot of offensive line development the last handful of seasons in Chicago.
No, we haven't.
Coach can help Braxton Jones get better, and Darnell Wright can take another step forward. Like all these younger guys can make some progress with a better voice in the room.
Dude, excellent stuff, Lorin. I appreciate your time, my man. Do me a favor though before you go, let everybody know where they can find you and your work online.
Of course. Thanks so much for having me on. Always happy to do it. You can hear me 5 days a week on the Locked On Bears podcast on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. And you can follow me on Twitter at Cox Sports 1. It's like Fox Sports 1, but with a C. Great stuff, buddy. Hey, bear down. I'm excited to see. Are you looking forward to the game this weekend? Oh, yeah. I mean, it's a great opportunity to see a bunch of the coaches that the Bears are going to be interviewing and kind of see, like, now the going gets tough, like Todd Monken versus Joe Brady. Like, let's see who's got more tricks up their sleeves and can really show off their stuff. And or, if heaven forbid, like the Lions get upset in a big bid, like that can swing things quite a bit. Hey, before you came on, I said the Bears better be petty. They better have a limo ready outside Ford Field. And if the Lions lose, they drive it to the bowels, and there's a little guy in a tuxedo with a sign that says Ben Johnson. Hey, if Mike McCarthy can get a private jet, Ben Johnson better get something. I don't know. Like, this is got to roll out the red carpet there. I agree. Let him know you want him. Hey, Lorin, great stuff, buddy. I appreciate it. You have a great weekend. We'll talk soon. I know. Guys, that's Lorin Cox from the Locked On Bears podcast. Appreciate his time. Yeah. DJ Breeze checking in, relying too much of coach development of these players. I agree. You want developmental players? Get them in the 5th and 6th round. Get them in the 4th, 5th, and 6th round. 4th, 5th, and 6th round. All right, those are your developmental players. All right, don't fuck around in the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd round. Those are guys that you need that are going to have to contribute year 1. All right, round 3 maybe in a rotation. Round 1 and 2 they need to be fighting for a starting job. Better be in a rotation. Better be. I like Mason Graham. I don't think he'll be there. Those two guys, Abdul Carter and Mason Graham, are the bells of the ball. I think those two are, and I'm not saying I think those two are the best players. But it doesn't mean you can't get other great players. See, that's the one thing that people say, we need to get the best, we need to get the best, we need to get the best. No, you don't have to get the best. You just got to get, let me ask you a question. People have talked about Walter Payton as being the best of all time. I agree. Okay. What if you didn't get Walter Payton, but you got Marshall Faulk? Are you happy? Can you do something with him? I think so. So you don't have to have the best. And also you got to figure out who. And let me tell you something. And Fire Marshal Bill. The best person at a position might not be the best fit for the system or scheme that you're going to be playing. So remember that. So you might get the 2nd or 3rd best or 4th best person at a position, but he fits your scheme perfectly, which will allow him to develop and grow faster. So it's imperative they get the head coach situation taken care of ASAP. Okay? ASAP. So you can find out what types of players he likes. So he can get his offensive coordinator, his defensive coordinator, so they can have their input
in the draft, so now you can go start scouting guys that those guys want. Take a deeper dive into the types of players that the OC and DC want. And it might not be the number one, the top pick. And it very well could be. But it doesn't mean that the second or third or fourth best player in that position isn't going to be a stud either. This is where you got to find the makeup. The makeup of players. And watch how they've grown in college. Because I just think that Bears fans want everything. You don't have to have everything. You don't. What you need top quality players. And that doesn't mean they're the best at their position. They can be very good. They can be great. Those are the people you need to work with. Those are people you need the top of their position, but also guys who fit your system. Guys who fit your system. And that's why the head coaching hire is huge. You got to get that taken care of so you can figure out what system you're going to have. You're going to run offensively and defensively. I truly hope that Ryan Poles does not decide to do his stupid-ass developmental picks again. Stop. Enough. I also hope that whoever comes in, offensive OC or DC, brings in the position coaches to help develop them. All right? Chris Morgan, offensive line coach. Don't worry. I got you. I got you, King Booker Roll. I'm calling him by his government. Chris Morgan has allowed the recession, or had allowed the recession of Darnell Wright. Darnell Wright was really, really good. A lot of promises rookie year. I think he took a step back this year. I think his offensive line. There are so many mistakes. Oh my God. Trust me, next year I will have a show. Okay, where I break down film. Should have done it this year, but Nimola. Why break down film and we'll offensive, defensively. Remember, I was a running back my entire career, and I was a defensive coordinator for a good part of the last part of my coaching career. So we'll break it down, and I'll be able to see offensive line. There are far too many just simple twists. Nothing exotic, nothing crazy. Tackle and stunt, and tackle stunt. And we're not picking them up. Bears weren't picking them up. This is high school stuff. Actually, this is grammar school stuff nowadays. This is grammar school stuff, how you pass off defensive linemen. And the Bears had a problem picking those up. You're the National freaking Football League. How the hell are you having problems with a junior high stunt? Mondo's checking in. What's up, Papa? How are you? My nephew. He says, all I want is a left tackle I can throw on an island with Aiden Hutchinson and not have to worry about Caleb's life. That's all I want. Oh, yeah, and a Super Bowl. Just those things. Nothing too much. Is that asking too much? Brian says Poles needs to stop being the smartest man in the room. Yes. Yes, he does. Yes, he does. And I think he's got to take some chances. Okay? Passing up on Carter, problem. All right? Javon Carter, Pro Bowler this year. Done all right, regressed. Okay. According to this squad, I agree. That's why in the first round, the Bears should go edge rusher or Mason Graham if available. I agree. I just don't think they're going to be around. I don't think Mason Graham's going to be around, and it's possible things. You never know how things fall, and if he falls to us at 10, or if he's at 9, switch, go get him. Because I forgot who's at 9. Did this the other day. Who's at 9? Come on, I thought I had it. NFL draft order 2025. Here we go. Here we go, yo. Here we go. Saints. Okay, we got a couple people checking in. The Saints are in front of us. Carolina Panthers are in front of us, in front of them. 8, Jets 7, Raiders 6. All right, Shadur's getting taken. Shadur and Cam Warner going into the top 10. Okay. Travis Hunter's going to go in the top 10. That's 3. Only got 6 other players to deal with. And that's where I think the Abdul Carter, the Mason Graham, that's where they go. But you got to have an offensive lineman taken in there somewhere. You're going to have an offensive lineman taken in there at some particular point. And again, can these guys fall? But we're gonna have to do a little more breakdown so I can get more familiar with some of the other, the number 2 and 3 and 4, at the number 2, 3, and 4 edge rushers, according to many analysts, 2, 3, and 4 tackles, number 1, 2, or 3 guards, and the top 3 or 4 centers. And what's the drop off? Is it drop off 2 centers and then everyone else is kind of eh? Is drop off 5 guards and then everybody else is eh? All right, so I got to see where that dividing or that Mason-Dixon line is, because on the other side of that is not really what you want, unless that person specifically fits your system. If he fits it like a glove, then you may want to go that route. But I just don't think I'm concerned. Leo Factory checking in. What's up, Papa? Good morning. Says bear down and good morning, everybody. I am concerned with Ryan Poles. I hope his survival instincts kick in. You got to realize that your survival is saving your ass, saving your job. And you take the best, most ready NFL players. So stay out of the Ivy Leagues again. Stay out of Southern Utah again. Stay out of the lower. You know what I would love? I don't even mind a Division II player, but it has to be the makeup of the young man. It's Nate Newton. I want to say it was Nate Newton or Larry Allen. One of them was a Division II guy. He went to junior college, played Division II. I think it was Larry Allen. Larry Allen was athletic. Went to a JUCO for 2 years, then went to a Division II. But give me somebody who's athletic and powerful. I'm talking on the offensive line. So I think 2 of those 3 picks should be offensive line. If you want to go 3 picks, cool. But I think 2. That's a crazy idea, King Booker World. That's a crazy idea. Stop being so rebellious. No hurt draftees. No more Stan Thomases. No more Kieran Amagajis. Please. No more Mark Columbos. Stop. Stop it. Come on now. Junior, we need a first-round long snapper for extra points and punts. Would he get fired immediately if that happened and not even finish the rest of the draft? Would he get fired immediately? Kevin Warren's like, you're done. You're out. Security, it's got to go. By the time they throw your ass out of the building, your key card ain't gonna work. But all kidding aside, I'm anxious to see what they do. I'm anxious to see if Poles continues to try and be the smartest guy in the room. All right, the trenches, which he's ignored, need to be addressed. And unfortunately, we don't have a lot of picks. I mean, we have more picks than many. More picks than many. We have 3 in the top 41. That's good. That's literally everybody going through 1 and a third rounds. Some people, if they don't have any first, like they haven't even picked yet. Or they picked 1 and we'll be having our 3rd pick. So we got some good quality picks in the first two rounds, the first 41 picks. All right, then and we have 1 in 74, 75, somewhere there. So in the top 100, that's 3 times through, a little more than 3 times through. No, not even 3 times through. I'm sorry. It's 2.5 times through. 30, 32, 64, and then another 11. So some people won't even have picked a 3rd time, and we'll be having our 4th pick. We got some good draft slots. Now let's make the most of it. I'm concerned with Poles. I am. I really am. I don't know by ignoring the trenches, because you can't just start going and giving people huge contracts. Great offensive linemen are drafted and developed, but then again, there goes the development part. Chris Morgan hasn't done a good job of it. But how good of a job was it if you'd have 2 more first rounders in there? So tell you what, I would love, unless you get just a guy who busts his ass like Larry Allen, okay, he junior college Division II. You should have 1st and 2nd round picks in that O-line. That's the most important part of your offense. I don't care. It's not the quarterback. Okay. Ask Patrick Mahomes. Okay. You can only do so much when you don't have a good line. So give me 1st and 2nd round offensive linemen. Because that'll alleviate a lot of problems. A lot of problems. I mean, you might have to go spend money in free agency now because of your neglect. John Harbaugh, first time I'm seeing you in the chat. Welcome, Sports Zone Chicago. I'm convinced Virginia McCaskey has no idea what's going on and thinks Bears have won 8 straight Super Bowls. You said Carolina got 2 really good guards in free agency, and that's cool. If you can, good. I mean, but the most important thing is you want to get these guys under contract. You're not trying to spend as little money as possible for the best players. And if they're good players, they know they're gonna cost. So, and I'm not saying that they can't do it. Yeah, they can. How much are you willing to spend? Brian, you're right. We might get an extra 3rd round pick for Ian Cunningham if he decides to become a general manager. We'll get 2. We'll get a 3rd round pick this year and a 3rd round pick next year. My man Junior says, do you think Jenkins will be back? I do not. Yeah, Brian. That's what I'm saying. Great old linemen are also kept by the team when their contract is up. That's right. Great offensive linemen are usually drafted and developed. They don't hit the free agent market, usually. John Harbaugh, I could do this. I can move. I can be moved. Remember, I wanted a tackle. That first pick. But if there's a much better edge rusher in round 1, okay, cool. Then you go get 2 offensive linemen in the second round. I can do that. I can do that. Braxton Jones, again, is susceptible to power moves, to bull rushes. He's good, but it's upgrade. There's certain things you should never settle on, and quality is one of them. All right, you got your franchise quarterback, you believe, then you better protect his ass with all you got. And that hasn't been done by Ryan Poles. That is my issue with him. That's why I was vehement about him losing his job. Good call, Mondo. Braxton is good in run pro, suspect. He's suspect in pass pro. Yeah, he can get out there and move. That dog can get out there and move. Jeez, ask DeAndre Swift. He got out there and knocked the boy down. Woo! Yeah, I think he got 2 guys. Spun one. He hit one dude so hard, it looked like a Hollywood fight. You know, you punch someone, they jump and they spin before they fall. That's how he knocked old boy down. You know what? I guess you're right. That's a good way to put it, King Booker World. King Booker World says Bears have depth pieces starting at O-line. Yes. John, I'm not giving up on Kieran. He looked bad, but was never supposed to play last year. People already called him a bum. I'm okay with. My issue is that he was drafted in the 3rd round. That's my issue. That's my issue. You could have got another piece instead of this project. He probably would have been there in the 4th round or 5th round. All right. He probably would have been there. Not a lot of people were jumping for an Ivy League tackle. Call me crazy. I've been called worse. Not a lot of people were jumping for an Ivy League tackle. Like, you give me a guy from Alabama, South Carolina, Florida, Michigan, Penn State, Oregon. Give me a tackle from there over Kieran Amagaji. Well, John says he was mocked as early as Kieran was mocked as early as the 1st round. A lot of people liked him. Okay. Definitely wasn't a 1st round pick. Not when you're a project. And he was good at his level. Don't get me wrong. He was good. Then he came hurt. And that red flag. So now he's coming in hurt against lesser competition. Can't take him with the 3rd round pick. And he might end up being a guard, which could be phenomenal for the Bears. Now, how great would that be if Kieran Amagaji gets moved to guard and he's a kick-ass guard? Now we're cooking with gas. Now we're like, okay, Pauls, we see what you're talking about. Yeah. I'd like to see also who had Kieran as a 1st round pick. King Booker World, you're a damn fool. Hope I run into one of the Bears higher up so I can meet them. Tell them my dream was to play for them. and they can make me the Cinderella story of 2025, a 45-year-old defensive end. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. But there's some games this week. I'm excited about it. We started talking about them on Saturday. There's some games. Number 4, the Texans at the Chiefs. I expect the Chiefs to roll, although I don't think the Texans are going to go easy. Then the second game, NFC. Number 6, the Commanders at the Lions. That's at 7 o'clock on Fox 32. Detroit should roll. But if they don't, the legend of Jaden Daniels grows. And who was it? Who was in the chat? Said they would do that? Shoot. That was the first dude. Black Diamond. Black Diamond. If they don't, Black Diamond's got to break out his tuxedo, his limo, be in the bowels of Ford Field like, hey, Ben Johnson. I'm here for Ben Johnson. You know, and then that's just Saturday. Sunday's games, that's the game. That's the day. Woo, Charlie. 2 versus 4. The Rams are at the Eagles. That's 2 o'clock on Channel 5 on NBC. And then the nightcap at 5. Well, not even nightcap. The evening cap, 5:30. Ravens versus the Bills. Lamar versus Josh. Game 2. Game 1. Matthew Stafford versus Jalen Hurts. It's some nice divisional games. And then let's not forget on Sunday, we'll talk about it on Monday. Monday. Let's not forget on Monday. All right. National championship game. We'll talk more about that on Monday because I'll have my show at that particular point. But the college football national championship is Monday in Atlanta, 6:30 p.m. Central. Ohio State versus Notre Dame. There's a lot of talk about. We'll talk about that. It'll be a pretty big Monday, football Monday again this week, with the 4 NFL games, and then the college football championship game on Sunday. It's a good time to be a football fan. This is a fun time. A fun time. What we got here? All I'm saying, John Harbaugh says, all I'm saying is Kieran still has potential and he can still develop into a great player. I agree. I think it might be at the guard position, but I agree. Again, I just wouldn't take a project in the 3rd round. I think you could have waited and got him later. That's my issue. That's my issue. You could have waited for him later. I said, I don't know who mocked him first. That's crazy. I'd love to see him and his track record, but okay. But yeah, Kieran could be good. And if it's a guard, man, we addressed a huge issue. We saw he's nimble. He can get out there and move. Okay. Charlie Campbell, you're saying he's the one who mocked Kieran Magaji in the 1st rounder? Okay. I agree with you, Junior. I would have taken Cedric Van Pran over Kieran. I agree, because that dude would have been able to start. There was a whole bunch of centers you could have taken. Him, Pritchard, Jackson Powers Johnson. There are quite a few centers in the 2024 draft. But we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. Well, listen, guys, 2 hours has come and gone. I want to thank my guest, Evan Altman from CubsInsider.com, for coming on talking Cubs baseball with me. Return of Slam and Sammy Sosa. as CubFest begins tonight. It runs today, Friday through Sunday at the Grand Sheridan Hotel, Grand Sheridan, Chicago. It's right off of Wacker. I want to thank Evan Altman for coming on. Then I want to thank Lorin Cox, the host of the Locked On Bears podcast, for coming on talking Bears football with your boy. I want to thank you because you mother hubbers kept this shit jumping. The chat was jumping today, and I love the participation. You're getting in there. Oh, Cornelius, if you're still watching, boom. I told you guys, send me your mock drafts. We'll put them up. Mason Graham. So, okay, in your draft, you're right. Mason Graham was still there at 10. Excellent. There's your DT. Princely Uman Mielen. Uman Mielen is the edge. And your second round pick is Wyatt as a guard. Third is the edge. The fourth is the edge. Fifth pick is a guard. Andrew Henry is the sixth pick. Seventh pick is Kobe Savage, the safety. And the eighth pick is Mitchell Evans. Okay. Guys, send me that's what I'm telling you. Follow me on Facebook. Send me your mock drafts. You can go over them during the show. I think that's pretty cool. Let's not forget, we didn't talk about it today, but Kyle Tucker, Cub fans, he signed a 1 year, $60.5 million deal to avoid arbitration. All right, and we talked about Todd Monken, the Ravens offensive coordinator. He's coming in today, or he's Zoom meeting today, his interview for the Bears. And then tomorrow, Brian Flores, the defensive coordinator for the Minnesota Vikings, is scheduled to meet with the Bears. So, listen, guys, have a phenomenal weekend. Oh, you're here. Cornelius said he's here. Hey, I told you, send it to me. I'm glad you did, Papa. I'm glad you did. I can put your name on there to give you your credit. So if you do mock drafts, make sure you follow me on Facebook. Send it to me through Messenger. And next show, I'll put them up. We'll talk about them. All right, guys, it's going to be warm tomorrow. I think it's going to drop after that. Let me double check. 43 today, 35 tomorrow, then Sunday 16, Monday 9, Tuesday 10. Yeah, so today and tomorrow are going to be all right. Today's going to be real nice. Tomorrow's going to be all right. Get out there, get your car washed. Hey, meet up with your people for some drinks. All right? Do it. I told you about it. Let your loved ones know you love them. All right? Tomorrow's promised to no one. I got to go pick up the warden. She's over at CrossFit right now. That's what I got out of my CrossFit class this morning. Guys, have a phenomenal weekend. If you're going to CubFest, have a great time. Cheer your heart out for Slam and Sammy. And have a fun, safe weekend. All right? So for everyone here at Sports Zone Chicago, I'm your boy, the SuperBack, Shawn Sierra. See you guys on Monday. This should be replay at 6. And we have 12:15 Second City Sports. So for everybody, your boy is out. Thank you for the love and the support. I'm out of here. Deuces.